Naval once said, "Your attention is your most valuable resource." But why? Let's break it down, right now, on Logic Current. The most fundamental asset in your life is not time, it's attention, says Naval Ravikant, tech entrepreneur and modern philosopher. It's a bold claim. We often hear, time is money, or that health is our greatest wealth. So why does Naval place attention above even time? Consider this scene. You have an hour of free time. Time is available, but you're anxiously doom-scrolling social media or mentally distracted. Your attention is elsewhere. That hour, effectively, is wasted. Naval's point is that attention is the lever that makes our time and experiences meaningful. In this segment, we'll explore why Naval Ravikant believes attention is our most precious resource, how this idea connects to ancient wisdom and modern science, and what it means for our everyday lives in an age of constant distraction. We'll dive into Naval's own words and philosophy, examining how attention ties into happiness, learning, and personal freedom. By the end, you might see your attention in a whole new light, not just as a mental focus, but as the currency of life itself. Naval Ravikant is known for his concise wisdom on wealth and happiness. One of his striking assertions is, "The real currency of life is attention." In an interview, Naval elaborated that while money and time are valuable, money can't buy more time. And even time is pointless if we aren't present for it. You can't trade money for time. And a lot of time can be wasted if you're not paying attention, he says. Therefore, what ultimately matters is what we choose to pay attention to in each moment. Naval frames attention as our most fundamental resource because it's the gatekeeper of our experience. Two people could have the same hour of time, but one lives it fully engaged and mindful, while the other's mind is elsewhere. The quality of experience diverges entirely. As Naval puts it, your attention is the only thing you have. This idea resonates with a famous quote by psychologist William James. "My experience is what I agree to attend to. Only those items which I notice shape my mind." In essence, our reality is constructed by where our attention goes. Naval's perspective is a modern take on this. In a world overflowing with information and demands on our attention, he warns that if you don't guard your attention, someone else will spend it for you. He even analogizes attention to currency. We spend attention like we spend money, so we should budget it wisely. For example, Naval cautions against spending too much attention on news or social media drama. He says you can put your attention on the news, but that's how you're spending the real currency of life, so just be aware of that. In other words, every click, every scroll is a choice of how to invest your limited attentional capital. Naval also ties attention to habits and happiness. He argues that where you allow your attention to go determines your mental habits, which in turn determine your character and happiness. If you constantly give attention to negativity or trivialities, your mind becomes habituated to those patterns. Conversely, if you train your attention on learning, gratitude, or productive endeavors, you shape a more positive reality for yourself. The power to make and break habits and learning how to do that is really important, Naval has said in context of controlling one's attention. He also famously advocates for practices like meditation, essentially as a way to train and reclaim control of attention, to learn to observe where your mind goes and gently guide it. This aligns with age-old meditation insights that a wandering mind suffers, while a focused mind finds peace. In one talk, Naval pointed out that many people worry about wasting time, but they don't realize so much of their life is spent not being here in any case. We might be alive for 80 years, but if our attention is elsewhere half that time, lost in thought or distraction, it's as if we only truly lived 40 years. That underscores his claim. An hour not attended to is an hour lost, regardless of how many hours you have. Importantly, Naval's not dismissing time's value. Rather, he's illuminating that attention is what gives time its value. 10 minutes of focused, intentional living can outweigh an hour of unfocused existence. In Naval's own words, if you're not immersed in this moment, then you're wasting your time. Naval's message also serves as a warning in the context of our modern attention economy. He is effectively sounding the alarm that many forces are vying for your attention. Advertisers, apps, social media feeds, news outlets. Because attention can be monetized. As he succinctly tweeted once, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. This echoes the reality that free online services make money by selling users' attention to advertisers. In a 2020 documentary, The Social Dilemma, a technologist said the same line, highlighting how user engagement is bought and sold. Naval's perspective implies that in such an environment, guarding your attention becomes an act of self-preservation. Herbert A. Simon, a Nobel-winning economist, predicted back in 1971, a wealth of information creates a poverty of attention. In today's world, we're drowning in information and notifications. Naval's insight modernizes that. Your scarce attention is extremely valuable, so everyone is trying to grab it, which means you must be intentional about where you direct it. He notes that if you scatter your attention on trivial things, you might end up feeling life is trivial, but focus it on meaningful pursuits, and life gains meaning. This helps explain Naval's own media habits. He is known to be very selective about consuming news or social media, focusing instead on books, deep conversations, and building his ideas. It's not that he's uninformed, rather he's choosing what deserves his mind share. That is perhaps the practical takeaway. We each have the power and responsibility to allocate our attention wisely, like a portfolio of investments. You wouldn't let random strangers spend your money. Why let random algorithms spend your attention? Naval's emphasis on attention also touches on deeper humanistic and philosophical angles. He suggests that attention is tied to meaning and fulfillment. After all, our lives are essentially the sum of what we've paid attention to. If you don't give attention to your loved ones, your relationships weaken. If you don't attend to your own thoughts through introspection, you may lack self-understanding. If you never focus deeply on any craft or passion, life can feel shallow. On the flip side, consider times when you were in the zone, maybe absorbed in art, coding, writing, or even in a heartfelt conversation. In those moments, you likely weren't aware of time passing. You were fully present. Naval and many thinkers would argue that's when you were truly alive, squeezing the most juice from life. By saying your attention is your most valuable resource, Naval is, in a way, urging a return to mindfulness. It's a call to reclaim agency in a world that constantly fragments it. In practical terms, it might mean doing one thing at a time, practicing saying no to constant stimuli, and prioritizing what deserves our gaze. In a broader sense, it prompts a personal question. If my attention is my life's currency, am I spending it on things that align with my values and goals? Naval's philosophy aligns with ancient wisdom, like Buddhist and Stoic teachings about focus and presence, and contemporary science, studies showing multitasking diminishes performance and happiness. It converges on the same point. A life well lived is a life well attended. Naval Ravikant's simple statement, "Your attention is your most valuable resource," carries profound implications. It reminds us that life is defined by what we attend to. Our moments of joy, love, learning, and creation all blossom from focused attention, while our sorrows and regrets often stem from attention misplaced or absented. In a practical sense, Naval's wisdom encourages us to invest our attention in things that matter, nurturing relationships, developing skills, enjoying the present moment. It also serves as a shield against the forces that aim to scatter our focus for their gain. In the hustle of modern life, it's easy to treat attention as an infinite resource, checking phones 100 times a day, juggling messages while half listening to a friend, letting hours slip by in algorithmic rabbit holes. Naval's insight asks us to pause and recognize that our attention is finite, fragile, and immensely valuable, and that we must consciously choose where it goes. By doing so, we reclaim the steering wheel of our consciousness. To answer the titular question, why does Naval say, your attention is your most valuable resource? Because it is the essence of your lived experience. Money comes and goes, time flows on regardless. But what you actually live, what you mentally inhabit, is where your attention lingers. So perhaps the takeaway is this: guard your attention with care. Spend it wisely on the people and passions that light you up. Be mindful of where it wanders. As Naval suggests, doing so is not just a productivity hack, but a path to a happier and more deliberate life. In an age of distraction, attention may indeed be the highest form of wealth. And the act of deeply paying attention to someone you love, to a craft, to the world around you, may be the greatest gift you can give, both to others and to yourself. So next time you find yourself reaching for your phone out of habit or scrolling aimlessly through a feed, pause and ask, is this how I want to spend the currency of my life? You've been watching Logic Current. I'm Kevin. Thanks for sharing your attention with me today. Stay focused, stay intentional, and I'll see you in the next one.